starting in like the 40s and the 50s is when they started processing food, and the industrial food production started. And that's when you started getting white bread and canned food and bottled food and stuff like that. And that's when people started eating lots of denatured food, lots of white flour, hydrogenated oil, corn syrup, sugar, that kind of stuff. And there was a scientist in I forget if he was like in the 50s, but he did this experiment with cats. And he took healthy cats and he fed them a very depleted diet of processed foods, and they weren't getting a lot of nutrients. And it took 3 generations, and the cats started showing all the mutations in their DNA that had happened because of the food. 3 generations later, the cats were like very deformed, very unhealthy. They didn't live very long. And after repeated experiments, he discovered that it just takes 3 generations to completely destroy your DNA from poor lifestyle and poor food choices. But he also discovered that it only takes like 1 or 2 generations to fix it and get it repaired back the way it should be. So 3 generations back, we are the 3rd generation. 3 generations back is when people started eating lots of processed foods, buying lots of processed foods. This is the 3rd generation. Our mothers haven't taught us how to eat healthy. They haven't taught us how to maintain our health with food and lifestyle because they didn't know, you know. Back when it first started, everybody thought that was the best thing, you know, sliced bread, white bread, canned food, awesome, you know, that was incredible, and they didn't know how detrimental and damaging that was going to be. We're the 3rd generation. Our moms haven't taught us, our grandmothers haven't taught us. It hasn't been passed down through our tribes and through our families. And so I want to be the mother. I want to be the person that is teaching people, here's how you live, here's how you eat, here's how you can make your body healthy. And I want to teach it in a way that makes it really fun to pass it on to your friends and to your family and to your neighbors. So you ready? You with me? Okay. Why don't you tell me what your goals are? Like the last class I had, people's goals were weight loss. What do you guys have for goals as far as health? Why did you come? What do you want to learn?
To be healthy.
What does that mean to you? Like just you don't know what to eat? You don't know what to do?
Yeah, I do. Some I do, some I don't. I mean, I think I've just learned through my generation the importance of the rawer the food, the better. And but of course, I grew up on canned foods like you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've done some changes compared to what my mom did, but she did what she knew.
Right, exactly. And that's what we all do. So just to share a little bit of my story with you, starting when I was 8 years old, I was sick all the time. I had sore throats, allergies, stomach aches, headaches, migraines, you name it, I was sick. And so I probably missed 1 out of every 3 weeks of school. I was like gone all the time. Tonsillitis, strep throat, I had pneumonia like 20 times when I was growing up, and I was very sick. And I started out with the medical doctors. They didn't know what to do. They gave me lots of antibiotics. They gave me, you know, just the regular stuff. They couldn't do anything with me. So then I started to go to the natural health doctors, and they tried homeopathy, and they tried herbs, and they tried all sorts of weird diets on me. And some of them worked kind of, but nothing really stuck. It might work for a month or 2 months, but then I just go back to being sick again. Traveled all over the United States, even to Canada, everywhere, trying every drug, surgery, treatment, herbal therapy, you name it. I tried it all. And I learned lots of things, but the problem was it was just little pieces of what I needed to know. When I was in my 20s, I got very sick. I had liver failure, kidney failure. My intestines stopped working, and I was in the hospital for over a month straight. I had to have a surgery to get my intestines taken out, my large and my small part of my small intestines. And they told me, they're like, sorry, you're just going to have to, you know, because you don't have a large intestine anymore, you can't eat fiber. So no fruits, no vegetables, no mushrooms, no whole grains, no fiber. All you can eat is bread, meat, and cheese and dairy. And that's all you can eat. If you eat other stuff, it's going to clog your small intestines that are left, and you're going to get really sick. And it's called an ileus. And so I was really scared. I'd been sick for so long. I was like, okay, I'll do anything. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to end up back in the hospital again. So I did what they said. And over the next 3 or 4 years, I just got sicker and sicker and sicker. I got every cold and flu that came around. I had really bad arthritis. My blood pressure and my cholesterol were through the roof. My eyesight was getting really bad. My hair was falling out. I felt horrible migraines. My menstrual cycle was all messed up, and didn't seem to matter what I did. I was taking lots of herbs and, you know, doing all these alternative treatments. Nothing seemed to help. I went to this school for natural healing where they were teaching me how to do some kind of foot zonology, kind of like reflexology. While I was there, that was cool. It was a 3-week education program out in the middle of Montana, 100 miles from the nearest gas station. So I was stranded out in the middle of nowhere. The only food I had was the food they gave me, and I was just out in the middle of nowhere. 3 weeks, they had me on a raw food vegan diet where all I was eating was raw fruits and vegetables, sprouted grains, sprouted beans, sprouted nuts, that's it. And after the 3 weeks was over, I had lost 30 pounds. My cholesterol was normal, my blood pressure was normal, my joint pain was gone, I could see clearly again without glasses. Everything started coming together, and I was healthy for the first time in my whole life. And it was kind of a shock because I went through this big cleansing process, and so it was not a pleasant process to go through. But for the first time in my life, I was healthy, and I realized, okay, I get it now. There is this connection between what I eat and how my body is functioning. I get it now. So I started investigating the raw food world and the vegan, you know, the vegan fresh food world, and I started getting healthier. And people would see me and they say, wow, because they had seen me a couple years before when I was practically dead, and they're like, wow, what are you doing? You look amazing, you're healthy again, you're not dead, what are you doing? And so I started teaching these classes. I started teaching people, and I found that people wanted to be healthy, they wanted to eat healthy, they wanted to live healthy, but they didn't know how. Our primary source of education on food is where? The TV, the media, the billboards, the magazines. And what are they selling? Processed food. They're selling the hydrogenated oils, the high fructose corn sweetener, the sugar, the white flour. That's what's being sold, and that's where people are getting their education about food. So this is why we need to start getting our education in different places. There's lots of places to get it, and I hope this class is helpful for you to learn more about what you can do to improve your health and improve the health of your families. So when I was talking before about 3 generations ago, before the industrial food revolution began, before refrigerators and freezers and canning, how did people preserve their food? Salt. So yeah, salting was one way to do it. And the other way was called lacto-fermentation. And that's kind of a pickling process. We call it pickling now. But it's basically culturing your food with a type of bacteria that's called lactobacillus. And the lactobacillus has a byproduct. As the lactobacillus is eating the sugars and the carbohydrates in the food, it produces lactic acid, and lactic acid is a preservative. And so when the lactic acid would build up, it would preserve the food, and the food would stay good for a very long time as long as it was kept in the proper environment. Usually they stored it in like root cellars or caves that were nice and cool, and they'd keep it airtight, and it would be preserved. So they would take their harvest, they would preserve it, and they'd be able to eat it all winter and spring until the next harvest came around. Well, the benefits of lacto-fermentation, besides the fact that it preserved their food, is lactobacillus. It helps to, it balances out your stomach acid so that you can digest your food better. It also increases the nutrients in your food so they actually have more nutrition in it. For instance, one of the byproducts of the lactobacillus metabolism process is your vitamin Bs. So a lot of your fermented foods have a high level of vitamin B. So if you start out, let's say you've got the best vegetable possible. It's fresh, it's organic, it's grown in fertile soil. Let's say it has this much nutrients. Once you ferment it and lacto-ferment it, the nutrients, jumps up to this much. And it depends which food you have, but it increases the nutrients. It increases your ability to digest and use those nutrients. And it also turns on the metabolic processes that build your cells back up and repair your cells. So it's really maximizing all the food you're eating and maximizing the way that that food is built back into your body to repair your cells and to make new cells. This is the art that's been lost. This is what the grandmothers and the mothers would pass down to their daughters in their tribes, and this is what's been lost. We're finding that, I ask people, okay, what is cultured foods? What are probiotics? And the first thing that people tell me is, oh, it's yogurt, right? And it's the acidophilus pills that you get in the health food store. And those are both correct answers. However, we're finding that those aren't the best answers, okay? We're finding that if you take a little pill, like an acidophilus pill that you can get from the health food store. First of all, if you eat it without food, your stomach acid kills all those little bacteria before they can colonize. Second of all, if you're eating a junky diet, if you're eating high fructose corn syrup and hydrogenated oils, all of those things create an inhospitable environment for those bacteria, and then they die. So you need to eat probiotics with food, and you need to eat them with a healthy diet so that they can colonize your intestines. So 80% of your immune system is right here in your gut, right around your intestines. So your intestines are a long tube, and around the outside of your intestines is all your immune cells, or 80% of your immune cells. And they're there because if some foreign invader is going to get in your body, there's generally two ways that happens. That's through an orifice, like through your eyes or your mouth or your nose, and most of that is through your digestive tract, or if you get cut, okay? So most of that coming through your digestive tract, all those immune cells are around your intestines, so if anything leaks out, it gets killed before it can infect the rest of your body. Now on the inside of your intestinal tract is all your friendly bacteria, which are your probiotics, okay? Now if you have strong, hearty, healthy probiotics, or it's called flora, that protects your intestines from the bad bacteria coming in. I like to think of it like it's called the parking lot theory. So if you have a parking lot with lots of stalls and all the stalls are filled up with healthy bacteria, if unhealthy bacteria or unhealthy viruses or some kind of pathogens comes into the parking lot, there's no place for it to park, okay? But if all those stalls are empty, then all the bad guys can come in and fill the place up, okay? So you want to have a healthy, strong, robust flora, which means all those spots are filled up with good flora. So that means if you eat some bad food, drink some bad water, touch a doorknob, stick your fingers in your mouth or something like that, what happens is all of those good bacteria are taking up all the space, and the bad bacteria just goes on through entrance to exit, and it doesn't bother you, okay? So a lot of disease is just a matter of what is the terrain inside of your body like. If you have a really strong terrain and lots of healthy probiotics and flora, the bad things, even cancers, viruses, bacteria, fungus, anything like that, it's not going to have any place to grab on, and it'll just go right on through you, and you're protected from diseases, all kinds of diseases, from colds to flus to infections to cancer. All sorts of things are linked directly to how robust is your flora, okay? Now, they're also finding that if you eat cultured foods, it sticks. Like, you eat it and it sticks better than if you just take a pill. And there's a couple reasons for that. If you just take a pill, sometimes you get a pill and there's just one strain of bacteria in there. It might be called lactobacillus something, okay? Sometimes there's as many as 20 strains of bacteria in the little pill. But inside of your body, there's way more than that, okay? And if you're culturing foods, you're going to get way more than that. So the broader spectrum of bacteria you can have colonized in your body, the more protected you are from everything that's coming in from outside. So if you're just taking a pill that maybe has one strain of bacteria in, that's going to protect you a little bit, but not very much. So we find that when we're making probiotic-rich foods, it's just a super broad spectrum. You're getting more probiotics than you can get in a pill, and you're getting so much nutrients in the food because of the way that the nutrients increase as you ferment your foods, that those foods are building up your body and your cells to make them stronger, so your body's just a lot stronger anyway, okay? Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Okay. All right, so when I'd say, you know, what are probiotics, most people say yogurt. And like I mentioned before, yogurt is great. It's a great idea. But conventional store-bought yogurt, there's a whole bunch of problems with it. First problem is the milk comes from factory-farmed cows that are full of antibiotics, full of hormones. They're raised in filthy conditions. They're in a very diseased state a lot of times. So you're not getting healthy milk. It's full of lots of stuff that you don't want to be putting into your body. And then what do they sweeten it with? Sugar or corn syrup. Those are the things, remember, that kills off the healthy bacteria. So even if you're putting bacteria in with the yogurt, you're eating so much stuff that's killing off the bacteria that really it's not doing you any good, and it's harming you because of the bad things that you're putting into your body. So what we want to do is eat foods like yogurt. We can make yogurt out of either raw dairy that's been farmed, grass-fed, and farmed in clean environments with no antibiotics, no pesticides, no chemicals. So healthy dairy, and if we culture that and without sugar and corn syrup, then you've got a healthy product. But a lot of people, especially nowadays, dairy sensitivity is just getting to be a really big problem. So I have lots of people telling me, okay, well, I want to eat probiotics, but I can't eat milk. So you can make yogurt out of coconut milk, out of nut milks, out of rice milk. You can make it out of lots of other things. You can culture anything you want with probiotics. It doesn't just have to be yogurt and milk, okay? And I want to give you like a lot of options so that you know you can get these probiotics from lots of places, not just yogurt and not just from the capsules.